So you're thinking about buying a house? Well, you're going to need some earnest money. But what is earnest money? Well, we're talking about that right now. Hey everybody, this is Craig Butler with Keller Williams, right here in beautiful Massachusetts. Welcome to our channel. If you want to know what it's like to live in or move to Massachusetts and Rhode Island, then make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the little bell so that you get notified every time we upload a new video. We get phone calls, emails, and texts from people every day who want to relocate and move here in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, and we absolutely love it. So make sure you reach out if you're looking to make a move in Massachusetts or Rhode Island or anywhere else in the country. We've got referral partners all over the place. So what is earnest money? Earnest money is a deposit that you as the buyer will make on a property when you get your offer accepted. It shows to the seller that you're serious about buying the property. So the seller can take the house off the market and you can move forward with your due diligence period and get your home inspection done. When your offer gets accepted, you'll submit your earnest money in the form of a check or a bank check. And they've even got apps now, like the Earnest Money app, which is kind of like Venmo for real estate. Now, technically, your contract is not valid until they receive consideration. That's the earnest money. So the earnest deposit check will be written out to the seller's brokerage or the attorney's office, and they're required to immediately deposit it into an escrow account. Now, here in Massachusetts and sometimes in Rhode Island, the earnest money will be separated into two separate portions. Now, the first portion will be given when the offer is accepted, and then the second portion will be given after your due diligence period, after you've gone through the inspection and done all your due diligence. That's when you'll give the other portion. This is not always the case though, as sometimes the deposit will be given all at once, depending on the agreement between the buyer and the seller. So how much should your earnest money deposit be? Well, it's usually between 1% and 5% of the purchase price, and that can vary from state to state. So an earnest money deposit on a $400,000 property could be between $4,000 and $20,000. And depending on the state of the market, it could be even more than that. Putting down a real strong earnest money deposit might make your offer stand out a little more than others. But what if you don't have all that much to put down? There are no rules to how much you have to put down as an earnest money deposit. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to get your offer accepted if you don't put a huge amount down. Can you get your earnest money back? Yes, there are several potential contingencies that can help you protect your earnest money. There's the inspection contingency, where if the inspection reveals issues with the property, then the buyer can negotiate with the seller to have the issues repaired, or they can negotiate a certain amount off the purchase price to cover the repairs. Or in certain cases, if it's something that you really can't live with, like a cracked foundation, pests overrun, if you have mold in the basement, leaky roof, something like that, then the buyer can walk away from the deal and their earnest money will be refunded. Next is the appraisal contingency, where if the home doesn't appraise for the purchase price, then the buyer has the option to negotiate with the seller to sell the property for the appraised value. Or if the buyer wants, they can put down a little more money to cover the difference between the appraised value and the purchase price of the house. But if the buyer and the seller can't come to an agreement and the deal falls through, then the buyer should be able to get their earnest money back. Next, there's the mortgage contingency, where if despite reasonable efforts, the buyer cannot secure the financing to purchase the property, then they should be able to get out of the deal and get their earnest money back, as long as they back out before that contingency date. Now you want to make sure you're working with a good real estate agent, because a good agent is going to make sure that all the contingencies that you need are going to be put down in the contract. And a good real estate agent is going to be paying close attention to those dates to make sure that there's no chance that you're going to lose any of your earnest money. But if after all those contingency dates are gone, and you're 3 days from closing and you decide that you don't want to buy the house anymore because, I don't know, you found one that you like better, or maybe you just don't feel like buying it, well, if you back out now, you might lose your earnest money. The seller will be able to keep the earnest money as damages for the time lost. So make sure you're absolutely positive that you want the property before you go through all that. So when you get to the closing, then your earnest money will be applied to your down payment and to your closing costs. Or if you've given more earnest money than you need for your closing, then the excess will be refunded to you after the closing. So now you know what earnest money is. And if this content was helpful to you, make sure you like and share this to somebody that you think it might help. And be sure to hit that subscribe button and click the little bell so you get notifications every time we upload a new video. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you next time.